r/AskReddit, what is the single most consequential mistake made in history? Removed. The killing of Archduke Franz Ferdinand was only a trigger, not a cause. WW1 would have been triggered by something else. Edit, improved grammar. WW1 had been in planning since the end of the Franco-Prussian War in one way or another, held off in large part by the diplomacy of Edward VII. It was going to happen eventually. I'd perhaps argue that the Allies' decision to force Germany to pay pretty much the entire cost of the war and the generally poor treatment of Germany was a worse mistake, but this is kind of what started that, too. Hitler's starting war with Russia, even after his generals told him not to. Napoleon's invasion of Russia has to be up there too. In the beginning the universe was created. This has made a lot of people very angry and been widely regarded as a bad move. 10/10. So long, so long, so long, so long, so long. Putting lead in gasoline. Well, that or the fall of the Roman Empire. Dr. Alexander Fleming leaving his lab for a 2-week vacation without cleaning the lab. The guy who developed leaded gasoline then went on to develop CFC/Freon that were later found to be destroying the Earth's ozone layer. Thomas Midgley Jr., Link. And GT, well, that or the fall of the Roman Empire. Which one? America might be a vastly different country had Lincoln not been assassinated. JFK too. Or even if he had chosen a different VP. That wasn't necessarily a mistake. I think John meant to do that. The botched Reconstruction era was maybe the one of the worst mistakes in US history. Or at least one of the longest lasting. Something not recorded in history. Username, checks out. Boom. The first example in the US might be Lincoln's murder and the subsequent death of Reconstruction. This mistake of leaving a dirty petri dish in his lab for 2 weeks led to Dr. Fleming's discovery of the mold which we now know as penicillin and eventually led to the use of modern-day antibiotics. Like a king falling off his horse. Some guy named Genghis Khan sent us an emissary. Just kill him. You sure? Yeah, what's the worst that could happen? That fucking fish that just had to go on land and breathe air. 'Cause of that, I gotta be at work dealing with bullshit all day. That's not fair. It's not entirely the fish's fault. Your parents had to get all horny and go to town on each other without adequate protection, blame them. Thank you everyone for all the replies I woke up to. I'm having a great time reading all the responses and learning a lot. How WW1 started. Some bloke shot an ostrich? In all seriousness, even without the assassination of Franz Ferdinand, it is likely some other event would have started WWI, given the international tensions at the time. When that guy shot the gorilla and pushed us all into the Biff Tannen is president, timeline in Back to the Future. Nah, that was the Cubs winning the World Series. The price to break that curse was really high. Governor of Otrar, Inalkuk, ordering the execution of a Mongol trade caravan sparked the Mongol invasion of the Middle East, ending the Islamic Golden Age and devastating both the population and infrastructure. You can make an argument that the region still feels the pain from the wounds of that conflict. Real Biff would be a far better choice as it turns out. Splitting the atom might really come back to bite us in the butt. Not letting a man in art school. I read that the issue was that it was obvious from his artwork that he would have been better served by going into architectural school. Unfortunately the process to reapply was somewhat involved and didn't want to do that. According to Franz Leeken he could paint an apartment in an afternoon, 2 coats. That may have prevented Hitler's rise to power, WW2, and the Holocaust. Or it might have resulted in someone more competent taking his place, Germany not being defeated, the nukes being developed and used in Europe. Christopher Columbus using the wrong units of measurement, leading him to believe the Earth was small enough that he could reach India by sailing west. The burning of the Library of Alexandria. The Germans, during WW1, sent a certain evil Russian man living in Switzerland into Russia, believing he would destabilize the country, rather than just having him executed. That man's name? Vladimir Lenin. After the failed assassination attempt on Archduke Franz Ferdinand, his driver got lost on his way out of town, and went back past the same spot where the assassination attempt took place. There he paused to try to get his bearings, and one of the failed assassins, Gavrilo Princeps, shot and killed the Archduke, setting in motion World War I, World War II, Russian communism, the Cold War, and the entire rest of the 20th century. Why the fuck did people keep murdering Mongol trade envoys and diplomats? He was really nice if you paid tribute to the Khanate. Why did the Islamic countries execute trade envoys and diplomats? And as a result, we got anime. Not coming down harder during Reconstruction. Not just harder, but doing more to reintegrate and rebuild. 2. The South needed to invest in the Industrial Revolution, but instead it was allowed to continue its short-sighted system of petty feudalism. The South would have a much better economy today had they not been allowed to indulge themselves in going backwards. Discovery of fire seems to be the most consequential. Also probably happened by accident. A happy mistake. Starting a land war in Asia. Slightly less well known is this: never go in against a Sicilian when death is on the line. Social media. I was 35 when my then GF, apropos of nothing, said to me, if I ever tell you something is nice or fine, it isn't nice or fine. And my previous 4 decades with the fairer sex imploded in on me. Deleted. History-wise, Cassius killing himself thinking the entire battle was lost. Without him it was all over, but if he would have lived to fight another day and him and Brutus would have won the Civil War, it would have drastically changed history. Everything-wise, whenever the last universal common ancestor of all life became whatever came next. Letting New England get Brady in the 6th round. Bledsoe getting her too. I know it wasn't really a choice, but the league would have been so much different if Brady never got a shot. Imagine how the world would be different. Peace in the Middle East, no climate crisis. Overlooking the droid attack on the Wookiees. They didn't overlook it. They sent their Grand Master to oversee the defense and secure the hyperlanes needed to win the war. Overlooking Anakin's increasing instability in favor of his martial prowess and not hiring a damn therapist were the Jedi's mistakes. Easy. Development of the nuclear bomb. It is the most likely doomsday scenario that can become a reality. And it can happen within an hour or less. It can happen at literally any moment. We're living on a ticking time bomb. Chernobyl and its effect on anti-nuclear. Adding lead to gasoline in the 1900s. I don't know, that seems like one of those things where the Republic was going to fall no matter what, that would have just delayed it. The people yearned for a dictator and everyone hated the Senate except the Senate. Your application to art school has been denied. Letting Lenin travel to Russia. An honorable mention, the iron content in spinach was mistakenly assumed to be very high since the analysts put the ... comma in the wrong place. A lot of people still think spinach is one of the foods the highest in iron content. It's not. But Popeye.
Hey guys, it's Reddit Glitch. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. I just wanted to ask you guys to hit the subscribe button because according to my statistics, 98.8% of my viewers are not subscribed, which I think you should subscribe because it's free and we're going to have a lot more bangers in the future, so subscribe. Again, thanks for watching. Bye.